Hey everybody, AC Weezy here. Now I like to cook, and I love to bake. Breads and cookies, pies and cakes, the whole schmeal. Now that is actually one of my favorite hobbies to do and pastimes. I can say for a fact that and I can show for it, love to cook. Another thing I love to do as well is witchcraft, two of which I try to participate in weekly, if not daily. So with recently, I got asked to do a video about book recommendations, and I could have done one about beginner witchcraft books, but I already seen there's a good number of those on the site already. So I thought it'd be interesting to talk about my favorite witchy slash spiritual cookbook to talk about. So I've chosen three on Amazon, and despite how your reviews might be about the site, I love it a lot. And I don't agree with the guy who owns it. I just use it simply out of necessity. So with that, I have three links down below about three books I would recommend on the site, and I will rate them from 1 to 10 and their pros and cons as well. These are all my opinion, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, let's begin the video starting off with Wicca in the Kitchen by Scott Cunningham. Now, this book is not only good for the seasoned witch, but it's also good for the seasoned cook as well. Oh, pardon me. What I mean by that is that the book itself contains a lot of knowledge and a lot of lore behind each of the different fruits and vegetables, as well as dairy products, fast food, and even beer. Like, for example, did you know that pumpkins are associated with the planet of the moon? They have earth energy and they're good for healing and money. I could see them being used for protection too, like as the jack-o'-lanterns, but you can also incorporate things from your own practices and mix them with this as well. And it's really good for reference. So let's say you wanted to make a recipe like for a dessert for knowledge or something for money. You can always use it like banana because that's good for spirituality, but also good for prosperity as well. Speaking of recipes, let's go into the segue about recipes now. So, speaking about the recipes, a good recipe in this book is actually the green soup that I like in here. The book contains a good amount of different recipes, and the green soup is one I make quite regularly when I get the chance. Uh, Approach-wise, it's very beginner-friendly, as with many other Scott Cunningham books. It's very easy to read. The recipes themselves aren't really that crazy. And he also goes into diets too, about like if you want to maintain a spirituality diet, you don't want to eat any meat. And if you want to do like a money diet, like attract wealth and prosperity to you, you want to eat blackberries and some other stuff he mentions. But all in all, the book's pretty solid. I wouldn't recommend it too much as a cookbook, as you only get like a sliver out of the entire book for actual recipes. So I wouldn't recommend it as a cookbook, but I would recommend it as a good encyclopedia of kitchen items uh, such as your fruits and vegetables and whatnot. And all in all, I give it a good solid 6 out of 10. And coming up as my second book, I have The Witch's Feast, a Kitchen Grimoire by Melissa Jane Madara. Now, when this book says it's a grimoire, I am telling you now that it is literally a grimoire for your kitchen. The book itself is pretty solid as a cookbook, and it offers a lot of good lore as well, so it's very unique and useful for beginners, as it is literally a grimoire for your kitchen. So I highly recommend it in that field for the lore especially. Cooking wise, the recipes are really freaking tasty, let me tell you that much. When I bought the book, I typically like to cook rice recipes because it's a little more, I would say, advanced to transform a bland food into a more palatable and delicious dish. And she does a damn good job with that, with a recipe that was inspired off Aleister Crowley's own recipe, which was this rice recipe he made during a blizzard. And she has a creative approach to it. And even though I omitted the raisins, it makes a great pilaf, honestly. Another thing as well is that it gives recipes for like some sabbats. I don't think all of them, as far as I saw. I didn't see any for Samhain because I was trying to cook one for Samhain earlier, but I didn't really see any recipes for that. But there's all kinds of recipes for like the different planets, like the sun, the moon, and Mercury, and all that. Like magic wise, I know those aren't planets, but still. And there's also great recipes for the zodiacs as well. With me being a Cancer, I'm actually a big fan of the Cancer one. The book offers all kinds of creative approaches to sigils, as you'll find you can make like little breadstick sigils. There's also good liquor recipes as well if you're fancying that. And there isn't too many cons of this book. All in all, I will say the cooking is a little more advanced in nature. Unless you're the seasoned cook, this is no problem for you. But if you're a beginner witch and you just saw this book, maybe work on your cooking skills or have this book help you with that. I think this is a great book that Miss Padara has presented us with, and I would rate it a solid. It's very close to a 10, but I would rate it a very good, solid 9.5 out of 10 because this is such a great addition to my library and my kitchen. So I look forward to cooking more recipes of this book in the future. And last but not least, we'll end this video with Divine Your Dinner by Courtney McBroom and Melinda Lee Holm. Now, the book has a very creative approach with what it's presenting us with. So all the recipes in this book, they all represent the 78 tarot cards. So this is definitely very good if you want to learn about the tarot cards themselves. Uh, there's all kinds of unique things in here that tells you, especially the ingredients. Like if you're creating a slow braised beef, short ribs, and sauerkraut with spicy mustard, uh, it'll tell you magical ingredients like mustard, bay leaf, and pepper in there and such. Another thing I gotta say too is the illustrations are beautiful. They're honestly breathtaking, and I just find myself just browsing through them honestly sometimes. Like this one for the lovers, it's just so beautiful. I love this one. One of my personal favorite recipes actually has to be the Fool card, which is the balsamic baked rice. And even though it is based off the Fool card, which is like new beginnings and starting new ventures, it was a great addition to my summer solstice ritual I had going because with the oranges and the lemons in there and the honey, it makes a great warm feeling in your body once you eat it. It makes you feel like you want to embark on an adventure, truly. And uh, the book has very creative approaches with all the cards, like I mentioned. And another thing I gotta say though, this is kind of a con. It doesn't give you any time. When I mean time, I mean like estimizations or prepping time. So if you were to be cooking a recipe on here on a whim, you might want to do it a little in advance because unless you know how long it's going to take you, it could probably take you longer than you think. And that's the most frustrating thing that any cook can relate to is when you think you can make something in time, but it's actually taking longer than it should have. All in all, though, the book is pretty solid. And if you want to impress your friends or family or any kind of get together, I would definitely recommend this book. Now, I am not a drinker by any means, but if I were to see someone serving this at a party or some sort, I would definitely give it a taste and say, damn, that person knows how to cook. You see what I mean? And it's just awesome what the book offers. Uh, I was actually fortunate to find this at Five Below of all places, but like I said, I'll leave a link to all these books on Amazon. I'll rate the book 8 out of 10. So with that being said, I, AC Weesey, recommend these three books for your cultic library or for your kitchen library. Now, like I said, though, they're pretty good. The Scott Cunningham one is really beginner friendly. The Vine Dinner is also pretty good in that approach too, with unique recipes. But with the Witch's Feast, I have to say that if you are looking to try something unique and show off some really razzle dazzle skills with your cooking and advance your spirituality, that is also a good recommendation as well. Now, I'm trying to keep my content going. So if you guys like this video or want to see more cookbook reviews or more spiritual books with me to recommend, I could do that in the near future. The Wicca Part 2 Ice book should be coming sometime later. I want to do it soon after this video because I'm still writing the script for it now. Couldn't give an accurate date, but maybe sometime within the next week or two. No promises. But with that being said, I am AC Weesey here, and I appreciate you watching this video, and take care.